If you want to see how I made 2 sets of shutters just like these for under $50, just stick around and see. This project starts like every good DIY project with a trip to your local big box store. I went and bought 20 of these fence pickets. They are $2.25 at the time of purchase. That was at both of the stores that I looked at. You actually need 4 fence pickets per shutter. So that comes at $9 before taxes, and then after taxes, it was like $9.90. So each shutter is under $10, and I'm gonna make 2 sets of shutters with the 20 boards. So let's get started. Wait. So you actually don't want to get started right when you buy the wood. This wood, is usually either outside or in the garden section. So it's usually wet and it's been just in the weather for days. So you really want to sticker and stack it. Be sure there's plenty of space for air to get in there. Let them sit for a day or two to dry out before you start running it through your saws and all that. Get all that going from your blades and just really messing your stuff up. These have been sitting for about a week, and I actually ran through the planer last night just to get all that dirt and stuff off. That's totally optional. Don't have to do that. It's just, if you got it, it's nice to use it. So once you let it dry for a week, then you get started. So now let's actually get started.
This project starts by bringing all of your boards over to the table saw. You're going to rip 2 of your boards down to 5 inches thick, and the other 2 boards you're going to rip into 2.5-inch strips. So once you get your 4 boards cut, you should end up with 2 boards that are 5 inches thick and 4 boards that are 2.5 inches thick. And we'll talk about how all this goes together in just a little bit. But the next step will be to take them over to the chop saw and chop the end off. Woo! Gotta take those staples out next time, dummy. And then you set up your stop block and start cutting all your boards down to 70 inches. And this is just a relative measurement. You would get your measurement based off the windows of your house. Mine ended up being 70 inches, so I cut all my boards at 70 inches. That's the 5-inch boards and the 2.5-inch boards. All of them down to 70 inches. And then once you get all your boards cut, then you want to glue, and I just use some brad nails to hold it together, but you want to glue a 5-inch piece to a 2.5-inch piece and keep one edge flush on the outside. So once you get finished, it should be a 5-inch piece with a 2.5-inch piece offset to the edge, but both edges should be flush. Wow, that was a lot of edge and flush, but that's how it should be. And then glue, tack it in place just until the glue dries. Now you should have 2 identical pieces, and you want to just flip one around, put a little gap in the middle, and slide that other 2.5-inch thick piece in there. So now all of your boards should be used except for one 2.5-inch piece, and I'll show you what we're about to do with that. You want to start by getting some measurements at the top, the middle, and then at the bottom. Once you get those measurements, they should be 7.5 inches if you did everything right. You want to take that last board, put another stop block at 7.5 inches, and cut your 3 pieces. And that'll be the pieces for the top, middle, and bottom. I then take those 3 pieces over to my shutter. I take the center support and mark the middle of it. I'll later use that mark and then the marks that I make on the actual shutter to line everything up and make sure that the center support is smack dab right in the middle of all the supports. Then I put one clamp right in the middle just to pull all 3 of those boards nice and tight and get rid of my gaps. Lay the pieces out top and then the center, and then finally I lay the bottom piece on once I fiddle with the center for some reason. And there we go. Put the bottom piece on. They all fit. Now let's glue and brad nail these bad boys in place too, just like we did the outside pieces. And the brad nails are just to hold it in place until that glue dries. Then I flip it over, put some screws in there just to give it a little extra strength, and then I flip it back over, I look at it, then I give it a good little rub, just because I really like that center support, and then it's on to sanding. And I just lightly sanded this. I did have some rough spots that I put some 80 grit and then 120, and you're good to go. Last touch, I did take the router and just put a slight chamfer around all of it. That's totally optional. If you have it, you can do it. If not, it looks good without it too. And of course, this is a YouTube video, so you have to video yourself laying them out nice and pretty for everyone to see. So I have 1, 2, that's number 3, and here comes number 4. 4 total, and that's them in their raw state. Next step, we move on to paint. And I just brought them outside and sprayed them with my Wagner sprayer. This really speeds up the process and makes painting bearable, because oh man, I hate painting. So this makes it halfway bearable.
Alright, so the shutters are finished. Went ahead and painted them today. Used the PPG brand. The color is Discover, and went with the satin finish. Hopefully make it a little easier to clean. And we will install tomorrow, or the next day, or maybe in a week. I don't know. We'll see. Probably in a week.
Just a few days later, it was finally time to get these shutters installed, and I had to start by taking the old shutters off to make room for the new shutters, because nobody wants 2 sets of shutters on each window, because that would be weird and not look good. So took all the shutters down, moved them out the way, and then brought in the new shutters, laid them out all nice and pretty. And luckily for me, I live in a brick house, so it makes it very, very hard to put things up on the brick. But also, luckily for me, I had old shutters, so I can just reuse those previous holes that are there and make my life so much easier. So I actually used the old shutter as a template to figure out where I need to put the screws on the new shutter. Kind of started them and then just drove them home. A little zoop, zoop, zoop. Push it, zoop, and push it again. And here we go. That is 1 window, and then that'll be 2 windows, thanks to YouTube magic. And all done. Blow the smoke off, and shutters are finished.